Hi, welcome to Give Cheese a Chance, where we encourage you to make cheese at home. I'm Marianne. If you love Italian food like I do, then you probably already know about one of their most famous desserts, tiramisu. And tiramisu is made using mascarpone. And mascarpone is a delicious, thick cream. It's almost the texture of softened butter. It's rather expensive to buy in the store, but one of the easiest foods you can make at home. You basically take some heavy cream, you heat it up, add a little bit of acid, and you strain it. It's that easy. So I'm going to show you how to make mascarpone, and then we're going to use it and make some tiramisu. So let's get busy in the kitchen. The first thing that we have to do is sterilize the fabric that we're going to use as our strainer. Usually I use a piece of butter muslin, which is an excellent fabric for cheese making projects. But I'm going to show you that if you don't have butter muslin, you can still do this project. Just use an old threadbare pillowcase that you're no longer using for bedding. Don't use detergent on it, and always keep it immaculately clean. You don't want it to get dust or fuzz on it. As long as you've chosen your fabric, you want to sterilize it in some boiling water for 15 minutes and then let it cool. Now let's make the mascarpone. You need 2 ingredients. First, you need some 35% heavy cream. It's also called whipping cream. Ideally, it should be unhomogenized, but make sure it is pasteurized. You don't want it to be ultra pasteurized. So put it into a pot and heat it on very low heat until it reaches 195 degrees Fahrenheit or 90 degrees Celsius. And make sure you stir frequently while the cream is heating up to the target temperature. You don't want it to scorch. And it should take about 20 to 25 minutes to reach that temperature. If you don't have a thermometer, you want the cream to barely come to a boil with tiny little bubbles around the edge of the pot. And the second ingredient you'll need is some acid. I'm using citric acid. I bought this at my local grocery store, but you can also find it at your bulk store. And if you don't have access to citric acid, you can use some lemon juice. Measure out 1/4 teaspoon of citric acid into 1/8 of a cup of water in a small bowl and stir. If you don't have citric acid, you can use 1 tablespoon of freshly squeezed and strained lemon juice into the water instead. Next, when the cream gets to the target temperature, lower the heat to very low. Add the citric acid solution and keep mixing with your spoon for 5 minutes. The cream will seem to thicken, and you'll notice that it coats the back of the spoon. After the 5 minutes are up, turn the heat off completely. Take your pot off the stove to cool a little. While your cream cools for 2 or 3 minutes, you can take your pillowcase or butter muslin fabric and stretch it out over a strainer or a colander like this. Then take that and put it directly over a bowl. Then pour in the cream. Put some kind of cover on top to protect the surface. Then put it in your fridge for 12 hours where it will drip. You want to make sure to remove the drippings at the bottom of the bowl every 2 to 3 hours. Hey, it's 12 hours later, so let's take a look at our mascarpone. Ooh, it's nice and thick, just like it should be. I'm going to put it into a bowl and determine the yield. So our yield of mascarpone is 650 grams, about, which is more than enough for our tiramisu recipe that we're going to do. But now is a good time to take a taste of your mascarpone and compare it to the taste of the mascarpone you can buy in the grocery store. Let's do that. Very good, very buttery. Almost identical. The only thing is, I think this one is just slightly more acidic. I think they've put in citric acid more than I put in. So you can see there's only 2 ingredients in the store-bought mascarpone: pasteurized cream, which we used, and citric acid, which we've used. So this is an excellent recipe if you want to imitate what you can buy in the store. Now, mascarpone doesn't last in the fridge for very long, so we're going to make our tiramisu recipe right away. And for the recipe, we need 500 grams of the mascarpone we just made. We need 5 eggs, 5 tablespoons of icing sugar, 1 cup of espresso or very strong coffee, which we are going to add some of your favorite liqueur to. This is coffee liqueur, but you can use rum. You can also use Grand Marnier, which I'm going to add. A nice splash, perhaps 1/8 to 1/4 of a cup. Give it a mix. And then the last thing you need are some lady fingers. This is the brand of lady fingers that I use, but there's many kinds in the store that you can use for this recipe. Step 1, beat your eggs and icing sugar together for 5 minutes in a mixer on high. We're going to add 500 grams of the mascarpone that we just made, or 2.5 cups, to the bowl and mix on medium for 2 minutes. So it's time to assemble our tiramisu. First thing we're going to do is add just a little bit of our cream to the base of a spring form pan. This one is about 9 inches in diameter, and I have lined it with parchment paper on the bottom and the sides and spread it out. And then the fun begins. We're going to take each of our ladyfinger biscuits. We're going to dip it quickly in the espresso and liqueur mixture on both sides and lay it sugar side down into the bottom of the pan. We're going to repeat that until we have an entire layer made. If some of the pieces don't fit the space that you have, feel free to break them to the right size and then put them in. Now we've got our entire first level. Add some cream to cover it all. And smooth it out. Then we're going to repeat this process for our next level. That's our second row. We're even going to do a third row. So add some more cream, making sure you have some left for the top layer. Push the cream into all the nooks and crannies. So we'll be using an entire package of these ladyfinger biscuits. So the final step is to cover the entire mold with the last bit of your mascarpone cream and to smooth it out. And now that it's all assembled, we're going to cover it with some saran wrap. I'm going to use a plate, and we're going to put it in the refrigerator for at least 6 hours. You can even put it in as long as 12 hours if you want to. The goal here is to let the mascarpone cream solidify, and we want the biscuits to get soft. So it's been 6 hours. Let's take a look at our tiramisu. And we're going to remove the parchment paper for the big reveal. The last step we have to do before serving it is to cover it with the best quality chocolate powder that you can find. So put a little bit in a sieve and lightly tap to put a thin layer of chocolate powder over the top. It smells delicious. I can't wait to have some. And while I finish up adding chocolate, take a look at these photos sent to me by people who made tiramisu with different presentation styles, surrounded by ladyfingers, or in a rectangular tray, covered with chocolate syrup, or served in individual cups. I'm so ready to take a taste of this dessert. I just love the combination of the chocolate flavor, the coffee, the creamy, cheesy texture of this cake. So let's cut into it. Oh, that feels great. Smells wonderful too. Look at that. That is perfect. We made our mascarpone from scratch. We made the tiramisu, and what's left? To eat and enjoy it. So thank you so much for joining me on Give Cheese a Chance. I'm Marianne. I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, please like this video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. Enjoy. By the way, I know mascarpone is not technically a cheese. It's more like a clotted cream, but I still wanted to cover it on this YouTube channel.